Okay, guys, so Donald Trump is lashing out at Pete Hegseth because he's not happy. Donald Trump is not happy about what happened, what went on with the military parade. The thing is that he's lashing out at Pete Hegseth now. There's new reporting. We're going to watch the video right now. Saying that Donald Trump had this call and he was lashing out saying, why was the tone wrong? This whole tone thing was wrong. They were waving, they were happy, they were smiling. They didn't, they weren't instilling fear, right? They seemed like good people, familiar. They were just having fun. Apparently, Trump didn't like that. So let's watch this video and we'll be right back because I believe this video that you're going to watch right now about the call, how he was lashing out and he was mad and I guess, very disappointed. I think this really exposes who Donald Trump is and what was this military parade really about. Because now we know with this that's, being reported that, well, we always knew. It's not like, he fooled us. We always knew this was about him. But now we have proof that it was never about the soldiers and it was all about what he wanted. It was about him and what he wanted to show the world in terms of who Donald Trump is and what kind of military he commands. He wanted to look probably bigger and stronger and better. He's a badass, right? Leader. He's a badass leader. So let's watch this video and we'll be right back with some, comments to wrap it up.
He's kind of pissed off. I mean, he's pissed off at the soldiers. I mean, he's accusing them of hamming it up. And by that he seems to mean that they were having a good time, that they were waving, that they were enjoying themselves and showing a convivial face rather than a military face.
Interesting.
And he kind of reamed out Hegseth for this. Apparently there was a phone call and he said to Hegseth, the tone was all wrong. Why was the tone wrong? Who staged this? There was the tone problem. Trump, he keeps repeating himself. So that was the word on that phone call was tone. I would interpret that he wanted something menacing, I suppose, something military, like something like, this is the most staggering force in the world and maybe it will come for you. Instead of, I think it appeared to a lot of people that there was a kind of festive air. Everybody was actually celebrating something, the 250 years of the U.S. military, probably celebrating that more than Donald Trump's birthday.
One thing that, watching this video, I was thinking that Donald Trump believes that since he is the commander-in-chief, and this is something that my MAGA brother, Angel, hey, Angel, hi, I hope you're doing good. A shout out to Angel. I have a super MAGA brother from Florida. And he always tells me, he's the commander-in-chief. Who cares what the lower court says? These partisan judges, he is the commander-in-chief. Yes, he is. And Donald Trump believes that because he is the commander-in-chief, that means that, of course, all the military responds to him and they have to do everything that he wants. But he forgets that these people also are military. They uphold the Constitution. This is the oath that they take. Yes, the military responds to Donald Trump. They have to protect Donald Trump. They have to serve Donald Trump. Why? Not because he is a king. That's why we had that day the No Kings, protest. That was the whole point, which was a massive, but I'm not going to get into that right now. You guys know it was massive. Trump had anywhere from 20,000 to probably 50,000 people if you combine all the areas throughout the whole day. Tops 50,000 people. It was at least, even Fox reported, more than 5 million people protesting on that day, the No Kings protest. So yes, they have to respond to him. They have to serve him. They protect him. But why? Not because he is a king, because he isn't. They serve him and they protect Donald Trump, the president, because Donald Trump is there elected to serve the people. This is about we the people. This is about the country. This is about the American people. This is not about Donald Trump. Trump told the world that he wanted to do this parade. He told the country and he told the whole world, I want to do this because our men and women in uniform deserve a celebration. They work hard. They are the baddest, soldiers, the most prepared. And it's time that we say thank you, right? It's time that we celebrate that. Hey, I'm fine with the concept. The problem is that we normally, traditionally haven't been that kind of country. You know that the top countries doing this normally are autocratic countries. Dictators are doing this. And actually the vast majority of military parades happen in countries where we have all sorts of, civil rights and even criminal, violations, human right violations. So it's not a good optics overall, but it's even worse when you want to do it all of a sudden in the United States and you want to do it out of the blue and you want to do it on your same birthday. That makes it even worse. So that's why most people weren't on board with this. And even I know a lot of military folks weren't happy about this. These people, like he says, yes, they work hard. They have to be away from their families sometimes for half a year, sometimes a whole year, or even more than that. Some of them, a big part of their lives, because they serve and they have been deployed many times and in many different types of trainings and operations. So regardless of that, that's the fact. This happens mostly with autocratic and countries and dictators. So it wasn't good, but this was supposed to be about them. And that's what bothers me when I hear this new reporting, the video that you just watched, the call, him lashing out at Pete Hegseth, which, by the way, Hegseth is not having a good week, or let's say he's not having a good first 4 or 5 months, into this presidency. He's having a rough time because of, unfortunately, his lack of, skill and experience. He's definitely incompetent, and he's showing it. He's had so many scandals. And again, since Trump is always wasting time and fooling around and not prepared and, also lacking, the skills and the knowledge and the experience and the focus, this is the problem with poor leadership. He's golfing, he has golfed like 20% of the time he's been in office already, costing taxpayer a lot. But the problem is that this keeps taking away from the real focus. We have chaos in this country right now going on with the whole immigration thing, ICE, how we have all these constitutional violations. We have chaos in so many areas. They're arresting their political enemies. Oh, they're weaponizing the government. Trump would say, he would scream weaponization for 4 years. And he just couldn't wait. Every single debate, every interview at Fox News or whatever it was, Donald Trump was always stating, oh, the enemy from within. These are the real enemies. Yes, Vladimir Putin, whatever. These are worse. These internal enemies. No, not white supremacists like the FBI had been saying for a couple of years, that the greatest threat to the United States currently is not actually coming from Central and South America. It's not, oh, they're opening their prisons, they're opening their mental health institutions, they're sending the worst. That's what Trump would tell us. That's what he was telling us all the time. But that's not what the FBI was saying. They were saying that the biggest and greatest threat to the country was actually domestic terrorism. And a lot of that was linked to what? To who? To white supremacists. But somebody was saying that you see how Republicans rush to come up with a new bill to open a new investigation anytime some migrant, somebody with brown skin, somebody that speaks Spanish, if they commit a crime and they unfortunately kill an American citizen, like we had with this Lake and Riley, case, immediately within 24, 48 hours, we already had a bill introduced, which Trump, now that once he became president, Trump signed into law. Some bill, the Lake and Riley bill, that actually did some things to combat, the illegal immigration issues and some related crime and so on. That's not a border bill. We know we have a border bill, and they haven't addressed that. They're so focused on dealing with, giving this massive tax cut to the rich and kicking people off Medicaid or Medicare, in this case Medicaid primarily, and also taking food stamps away and so many other benefits, because they need to help the rich, right? Who wouldn't help the rich, right? Those poor little rich guys. And the reality is that they were saying, you see how they move, heaven and earth. They move whatever they have to move. They'll move a mountain if need be to come up with some bill and some action and some investigation and hold people accountable if a migrant, especially if it's a black or brown migrant, happens to kill a white American person here in the United States, right? But then the contrast, on the flip side was the other statement. And this was the one that actually kind of like shocked me a little bit. I'm like, man, that's true. Then the person said, why don't we see an outrage right now? Why don't you see a new bill? Why don't you see a new investigation, a new special task force created to investigate over the killing of, or at least two Democrats, state legislator and her husband, and then another one who was, badly injured, was like shot a couple of times, and at least at the time that I'm recording this video was still in the hospital, not in good condition. So, they did say that they expected, the person to recover, but still, this is super bad. This is domestic terrorism, and you don't see the same level of accountability. You don't see, we're gonna somehow get $5 million, $10 million, $100, $150 million to address this problem so that we can build a wall, because this can never happen again. A legal migrant killing an American citizen, this cannot happen. But we already have a killing of a Democrat, we have a homicide, and now we have another. It would have been two. Not the same level, not the same value. They don't have the same interest in protecting lives if it's coming from the opposing party. I came across a video today, just working on a different episode. I was just browsing some of the videos that I have. I have this whole database already on my computer of doing my Spanish podcast for over a year now, and again working with Brian for over almost 2.5 years now, doing the Spanish translations. And I came across this video from Trump on the campaign trail. Now, leading into this 2024 election. And Trump, it was the video where he was saying, if somebody wants to kill me, if somebody wants to shoot me, they're going to have to shoot, through the press, which is like right there. So they're going to have to go through the press. And if they end up shooting the press, I'm paraphrasing, almost something like that. If they end up shooting at the press first so that they can get to me, I wouldn't mind that. I really wouldn't mind that.
Over here is the fake news, right? And to get me, somebody would have to shoot through the fake news. And I don't mind that so much, because I don't mind that.
So when this person was saying that it's completely unbelievable, the fact that they will have this outrage whenever a migrant commits a crime and injures or kills or rapes an American citizen, but then you see a white supremacist, some local domestic radical terrorist, killing literally a state legislator. And he had a list of a bunch of other Democrats too. Yeah, a couple of, basic, this shouldn't happen, a couple of tweets here and there, that's it. That's it. Not the same level of outrage at all. So anyway, coming back to wrap up, this episode, what was Trump expecting with this military parade? That's my question. Because if this was really about celebrating our men and women in uniform, why not be happy about it? Why they couldn't have a moment where they said, we finally got a president who is celebrating us. We're here. All these people here, well, not all these people, but these people here, because we know it was a couple of, 1,000 people. These people here are waving at us or are celebrating us because of what we do. That feels good. I want to smile about that. I want to feel happy. I want to enjoy this little moment that I'm having during this military parade. Why? Because tomorrow is not warranted. I'm going back to to combat. I'm going back to training. I'm going back to, again, all the risk that is involved with being in the military, which is not an easy thing. It takes a lot of courage. So why now, why lash out and say, oh, they were smiling, they were waving. I didn't want that. I thought this was actually the whole purpose. I thought this was the goal. I thought this was about celebrating our men and women in uniform. You guys do a great sacrifice. You work hard. You are the best in the whole world. Let's enjoy this moment. Let's clap for you guys. Let's give you a round of applause and smile. Enjoy this moment because this is all you. This is all for you. Oh, but apparently it wasn't. Trump was so frustrated with so many different things. First of all, crowd size, because, like Obama said, he's so fixated, right? He's so obsessed with crowd sizes. And at the same time, and you could tell his demeanor, his face, his facial expression, when different takes throughout the event, he was so depressed and sad, and he wasn't just enjoying the moment. So on one hand, we have our military men and brave men and women smiling, having a good time, letting people know we are here for you. Thank you for celebrating us, but we're here for you. This is what we do. This is the oath, we take. This is our promise and our commitment is to protect you guys. So now you're here recognizing us and celebrating us, and we're happy about that, and we're smiling and we're enjoying it. But the person who supposedly really wanted to celebrate them and their sacrifice more than anyone else, oh, we have to do it. No other president wanted to do this. Yeah, I want to celebrate them. I wanted to celebrate all of them. Yes, my birthday, it's me, really. And that's a really sad thing, and in my opinion. So that's really what I wanted to share, guys. There's so much that we can say about this, but we know who Donald Trump is. We know he's a narcissistic, autocrat, dictator wannabe who is really pushing hard to take away a lot of protections and rights and to ignore the Constitution. And he's trying to develop this whole army and military around him that doesn't respond to the courts, that doesn't respond to our agencies, that doesn't respond to Congress. It doesn't take into account federal law or our Constitution. He wants them to respond only to him, to serve him, to obey him, and now to even go against American citizens. But let's wrap it up here. Please leave a comment. Let me know what you think about this whole situation, about the military parade, about Pete Hegseth's, situation, his scandal, and how Trump is lashing out. Poor Pete Hegseth. Poor Pete Hegseth. He's having such a hard time, so incompetent handling this whole signal scandal and people that he's firing. And then these people were the ones who actually were leaking all these bad things that he was doing, supposedly. And then, he goes to Congress and, everybody and their mother is grilling, Pete Hegseth, poor Pete Hegseth, in Congress too. So anyway, stay tuned because I'm going to share a couple of more clips of those interactions in Congress, which were absolutely amazing. Especially, I loved Tammy Duckworth's one, just because it was kind of like a part two. It was like this the part two in the series of Tammy Duckworth grilling Pete Hegseth, because she is such an impressive, in my opinion, right? She is such an impressive person that commands respect, because she has worked hard as one of our military persons, as a person who actually sacrificed herself, who even lost her legs in combat in a helicopter. She knows about that, and then she came back and she grew stronger, and now she's in Congress and she helps veterans, and she knows so deeply, this whole process and the law and the importance and ramifications of all these things. And Pete Hegseth always looks so small when he's having an interaction with Tammy Duckworth. That's where you see when you're in front, when you have in front of you greatness and integrity and discipline that commands respect, and when you have a clown who was just sucking up to Trump on Fox News for literally a decade, and now he happens to be the Secretary of Defense of the United States. So I'm going to wrap it up, and I'll leave it at that. My name is Daniel Aranzamendi. This is the Aranzamendi Podcast. I'm going to try to be a little bit more consistent here. If you like the show, please like, subscribe, leave a comment. I'm mostly doing a Spanish podcast, so I don't really spend a lot of time here, doing English in this channel. But I really want to do a little bit more here, so I'm going to try to do at least 1 or 2 episodes per week. Please like, subscribe, and thank you for tuning in today. Leave a comment, and I promise I'll take some time later on to respond to all the comments that you guys leave here. Okay, so have a good day, and let's see what happens, because this is getting better and better by the day. So we'll see. Take care.